Hey there, it's Carly with another episode of the Expat Focus podcast. We are chatting to one of our regular columnists today, Ben Zabulis, who I've interviewed in the past about his decision to retire to Hong Kong. Now, lots has been happening in the world since our last chat, so I'm really keen to check in with him and hear his perspective, and also find out how he and his partner keep themselves well and healthy as retirees abroad. I hope you enjoy this conversation. And if you are looking for expat health and wellness resources yourself, head over to our website, expatfocus.com. Then I realized the other day that it has been about 3 years since we last had a conversation. How are you
Yes,
doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yes, the time has gone so quickly.
It
I
really
can't
has.
believe it's 3 years. It's just like yesterday.
Absolutely. And for those who haven't listened to our first chat or who haven't been reading your columns
Right.
on expatfocus.com, you and your
Yes,
partner Hillary did retire to Hong Kong. Can you give us a bit
we
of a
did. Yes,
recap of what led
yes.
you to do that?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, really. I should point out that most of my long-term travel has been through work or work-related. I was never a long-term backpacker or a digital nomad, as they call them nowadays, maybe. So I went off to work, and in '92, I went to Hong Kong, and I met my partner Hilvia there. I was working, but in 2004, we decided to go back to England. It was a sort of early retirement. Hong Kong was getting a little bit manic. The work was getting crazy. I also had a house to sort out. My mother had recently passed away, and there was a house to sort out and all that sort of thing. So we decided to go back, and we were there, I suppose, just about 10 years. And I don't know. I suppose we found it very restrictive. It wasn't really what we wanted. And so we thought we will emigrate. And we looked around to many places. Spain was an idea, Canary Islands was an idea. And then we thought, well, wait a minute, because we have got residency in Hong Kong. Why don't we go back to Hong Kong? And so we did. We thought at first it would be a very expensive exercise. Hong Kong has a reputation for being very pricey. It is and it isn't, two worlds. And so we decided, well, we'll give it a shot, and it's already been just over 6 years now, and we are
Yeah.
back here. It hasn't proved as expensive as we thought, because, of course, when you're working before, it didn't really matter. You got a good salary, you could pay any rent, all the expenses, no problem. If you were lucky, the company would pay a lot of it too. But when you're on your own, you've only got really your savings, maybe something, small pensions, things like that. And it's more difficult to make ends meet, but it's been surprisingly successful. The rent is quite high here, but the other bills are quite reasonable. So,
It's
so we're
balancing
very
out.
happy at the moment, and that's it. That's to cut a long story short. It.
So I'm curious, this second stint in Hong Kong is obviously different to before because you're not working. It's a very different way of life when you're living the retired life. Can you take me
Yes.
through a typical day or week for you both?
Yes, well, it's actually very very quiet. We're actually very good at doing nothing. Very experienced now. But the good thing about Hong Kong is you have this parallel culture, which is the Chinese side, alongside your Western side, if you like, and there's always something going on, um, and it makes it very interesting. And also, you have an interest in the flora, the fauna, language, all sorts of things going on. So the day passes very quickly, and we tend not to do very much. We keep the brains exercised. We've got into the Guardian newspaper does an online crossword called the
Ah,
Genius
I was going to
Crossword.
ask if you did Sudoku or something.
And we do a lot of those.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
never won. We've never won yet, but we always manage to finish it, which is the main thing.
Yeah,
And the
definitely.
genius crossword is very, very difficult, and they make it so. And it can keep us going for a month. It comes out every month. There's a £100 prize. And so that keeps us busy also. So we have a good mix of things. I think that's the key variety.
Yeah,
Mm,
definitely. No, I know obviously health it's so important, even more so as you get older. And in this
mm,
past year, I think
yes.
for so many of us, it has been in the spotlight with COVID and
Mm,
everything that has
mm,
come with it.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
what do you both do consciously to stay well and healthy?
I think it's quite simple. I think we eat well, we sleep well, and more importantly, there's no stress, no pressure. And I think that's the most dangerous thing in life nowadays is stress, pressure, call it what you like. So we generally just have a very laid back life. We have a positive outlook on everything. We don't let anything get us down. And that's it. It's as simple as that, really. Easy. Just good food, rest, occasional walking. We walk a lot, do some hiking. Hong Kong is very good for hiking, and that's it. And it's just a very pleasant lifestyle.
Would you say that Hong Kong is a very health conscious city?
Yes, I think it is actually. People like to go out and play sport. Cycling is very popular. Hiking, as I've just mentioned, is probably the national pastime. Everybody does it. You think of Hong Kong as a big city, but there's
Yeah.
so many lovely hiking trails. Within an hour you can be out of the city. You don't see another person. Even though it can be very busy, popular. Uh, Water sports are very popular. In fact, when I was working, the company, we had a dragon boat team.
Oh, yes, I've heard of these.
We had that was great fun. You think of like factories in the UK would have a football team or a cricket team. Well, here it's a dragon boat team. You see, it translates quite nicely.
Yeah.
So that was very popular. The hiking, we did a lot of competitive hikes, and also we did what was called the pedal cart race. And every year in one of the parks here, they have a charity 24-hour pedal cart race where you pedal these little carts all around this circuit for 24 hours.
I'm trying.
And
I'm
that was
sort
for
of
charity,
picturing
of course.
something between a bicycle and a go-kart that you're kind of
Yes,
sitting
very much
sitting
like a
in.
go-kart. Yeah, a
Okay.
go-kart, but pedals, as fast as
Yeah.
you can. Yeah. And so those sort of things. So yes, people are very health conscious. I think more recently, food-wise, they are also more health conscious. Before, maybe the food here had a bad reputation, a lot of MSG and this sort of thing, and that's really being phased out quite a lot now. The salt content is much less, so I think, yes, they are very health conscious. I think on the whole, they are quite healthy people, the
Mhm.
Chinese. Obesity, well, people seem to think obesity is a problem here, especially with school children, but I'm not sure myself. I can't see it.
I know here in France, as an Aussie in France, I am guilty of indulging way too much in baguettes, croissants. I love a
Hmm.
tarte de citron, a little meringue lemon tart,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's totally like the reason why I've put on the COVID kilos. Or one of the reasons why I put on the COVID kilos. I think
I can
in the
understand.
UK they called it the Heathrow injection when Aussies went
Oh,
to the UK and got a bit of
oh,
weight on them. So
oh,
at
yes,
first I
yes,
had the Heathrow
yeah.
injection, and I don't know what the equivalent that you would call in France the baguette bomb, what something like that. But I've definitely got that problem. So what are some like real treats in Hong Kong, and how do you stop yourself from just feeling like you're on a permanent holiday and eating that sort of stuff all the time?
Well, we don't sort of stop eating it. I think moderation is the key.
That
One of
word.
the one of the things you get here are, I don't know if you know those Portuguese egg tarts.
Yes.
You know,
The
very
pasta
sweet,
de
very
nata or
tasty.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they are here by virtue of Macau, which is just down the road. Well, no, actually that way. And they have the Portuguese influence, and of course they have these egg tarts, and of course they travel very well. Now we make our own here in Hong Kong, and they are very sweet and very Moorish and very lovely. So again, we would only have them very occasionally.
That's very good
Another one of
self-control.
my Yes, that's right. Another one, we also have a Marks and Spencers.
Oh,
I don't
yes.
know if I should be mentioning brand names here, but they do pork pies.
Uh-huh.
It's a very British thing, for Northern England, actually. and they are very, very tasty. But again, it's moderation. We wouldn't have them all day, every day, but maybe once a month.
Yeah,
And
I've
and
definitely
I think
found
that that's
the Aussie
hmm,
food subscription services here
yeah.
in Europe are great
So
for getting
yeah.
10 grams.
I see. That's right. Same thing, really. So again, it's another nice thing having the East meets West aspect. Is that we have all the local produce, but you can still go to M&S and buy all this stuff, from England,
Yeah, those tastes of home,
imported. Yes,
definitely.
exactly. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yes, yeah. So
Now,
say moderation, take it easy.
something I need to learn a bit more.
Discipline.
Ben, we do get a lot of questions in the Expat Focus Facebook groups in particular about
Yeah.
healthcare when you're living
Yes.
abroad. And I'm
Yes.
curious for yourself and your partner, you moved to Hong Kong as
Yes.
retirees.
Yes.
What was and obviously everyone's situation is different, but I'm curious for
Yes.
yourselves. Um,
Yes.
what did you find as a solution for healthcare, health insurance?
To be honest, we haven't. We are happy. We have got residency, so we can use the local system whenever we want. But we haven't as yet bothered to take any private insurance. We're both really, I think, quite fit for our age, and we don't sort of preempt anything. I think we work on the prevention is better than the cure, So we try and have this positive outlook, good diet, stay healthy, and that seems to be working. We haven't yet bothered, I say, with health insurance. Maybe we should, but we can, if there is a problem, use the local system. So we're happy to do that at the moment.
And does the local system cover a lot of out-of-pocket expenses?
It does. Yes, it does. It's the same as the NHS, really, you could say. Probably it's modelled on the NHS from the British days, in fact. And you can go there. You will pay a nominal fee, which might be just a few pounds for a consultation or something like this. And of course, if there's any medicine, you'd have to pay for those. But generally, it's a very well subsidised system. There are many people in Hong Kong still who are probably more or less on the poverty line. So it's really for them and to help them, we can get good treatment. A lot of companies now, they offer top-up medical insurance and this sort of thing as a condition of employment. And that's very good. That's a relatively new thing, I think. So at the moment we are, touch wood, very fit and healthy, and hopefully we'll stay that way. So
Yeah,
we haven't done anything
absolutely.
about it.
Well, you're keeping your custard tart and mince pie intake at a
Yeah,
low level, so I think you're on a
exactly.
right
That's
approach.
right. Yes, 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 exactly. No, I
But
think also, yeah, sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say again, it's just keeping a very positive outlook, and I think that does keep you. I think that's half the battle won. That you don't get. There's no stress. There's no depression. You just keep cheerful and take every day as it comes. Really.
Well, speaking of outlooks, I think it has been a challenge to possibly keep positive all the time in the last couple of years. And I'm thinking in your situation in particular, you're
Mm.
from the UK, which since
Yes.
we last spoke, Brexit's happened, and that's caused a lot of pain and angst, particularly among British expats.
Mm.
We've had, of course, the past year with COVID. And then, of course,
Yes.
in Hong Kong, there have been quite intense protests happening for a good year. And I'm not sure if that's still going on.
No, it's not going on now. It did, as you say, it went on for most of 2019, and they were interesting times. I never thought that would happen in Hong Kong because the Hong Kong people are generally quite peaceful, meek, and mild, you might say. And when they're all there on the streets and fighting, shouting, it was quite inspirational almost. The good thing about the riots is that there was actually a program of them. That you could see which date where it was
Oh,
going to be.
really? It
You
was
knew
that
where it was
organized.
going to be. Yes, yes, it was very well
Yeah.
organised. So usually they started out as a peaceful march in the daytime, but towards the end there would be some sort of change, and it would develop into a violent situation. I wouldn't like to say who was at fault, whether it's the protesters or whether it's the police. Probably 50-50. But they usually ended in violence, and that was a shame because the actual daytime walks were very peaceful, all sorts of people there, children, older people, maybe something of a carnival atmosphere almost, a bit like some of the protest marches in England, although I don't think they're very peaceful nowadays. But so on the whole, yes, that was a problem. It got very much out of hand. And then along came COVID and the restrictions on outdoor activities. So, of course, that put an end to the marches and the
Right, of course.
protests.
Mm-hmm.
And then the government did really well here with COVID and organising it and managing to contain it. We've done very well. For a city of 7 million people, we've only had about, I think, just under 12,000 of the infection numbers.
Really?
And deaths have only about, I think, 210, which is
It's
very
really
good.
impressive. Yeah.
But the moment we knew this thing was coming, they closed the borders. We all wore face masks, and then the track and trace was superb. There was a doctor, one of our head doctors, she used to come on the television every night, and she would say that patient number 3 is related to patient number 6, who is the stepmother of patient number 7, and blah
Oh,
blah
wow,
blah blah.
yeah.
So they knew everybody.
So
They were able to
specific.
contain it. And it was almost down to zero, and then they opened the borders again to let a lot of people coming back in, mostly from the UK students, really, and they all had COVID anyway, so it went up again a little bit. But now it's down to I think we've had no cases today or yesterday or the day before, so it's looking quite promising now. But as I say, we were very careful. Social distancing was the norm. But our lives never really impacted. It didn't really impact on our lives. Same as the protests. We were never really in those places. The protests were very localized. COVID is not, but again, you can be very careful. Our supermarkets, our shops remained open. The coffee shops, the restaurants remained open. Only the bars closed. Really, that's the only thing, and some of those are still closed. But again, through all this, yes, you could sort of go, you could go a little bit mad, really, sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
get me out of here. But again, positive outlook. We can say that, with the riots, that there was a positive side. Hong Kong has found their political awareness, if you like. With COVID, the positive side, well, the air quality improved dramatically because nobody
Yes.
was traveling.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you know about our pink dolphins in the sea. They're they're an endangered species, and
I
they are
hadn't
actually
heard
making
that
a
you had
comeback
pink
now.
dolphins.
Yes, we have pink dolphins. Yes, just off
Gorgeous.
Lantau Island.
Uh-huh.
You can go and see them if you want. And they
Put it
were
on my list.
endangered, but yes, yeah, and they were endangered, but because of the drop in sea traffic, they are now multiplying again, and they're coming back. So each one of these problems has a positive aspect,
A
I
silver
suppose.
lining.
Yes, you could say. Yeah, Brexit. I don't know how Brexit will impact us. I'm not sure it will actually. It may have repercussions for trade, but on a personal level, I don't think it's going to be a significant problem. I hope it works for them, but you don't know. Don't know.
And it sounds like really from a mental health perspective, you and your partner are doing all the right things and keeping a really positive outlook through what has been quite a disruptive couple of years.
Yes, definitely. I think that you've got to just keep going, and but as I say, we're lucky here. We didn't really have the severe lockdowns that were seen in Europe. It didn't really impact our lives significantly. We kept going out. We kept going to our favorite coffee shops. We kept going hiking. There was no great lockdown, and so from that point of view, we weren't so contained. I can understand people in the UK. Well, I know friends in the UK who have struggled with it. And it's a lot of people have issues. But fortunately we haven't, and we were able to carry on more or less as normal.
And now the vaccination rollouts have begun. I know here in
Yes.
France, I'm so excited. I've had my first jab.
Oh, good. Well done to
Can't
you.
wait for the second one. And I don't know if it will change much about life, but at least I'll feel mildly more protected. I
Yes.
have read that in Hong Kong, they're actually offering incentives for people to get
Mm,
vaccinations. Like there's a lottery and there are free flights
yes.
going.
Yes, yes. Apparently, they some housing company has put a flat available for the lottery, and it's a flat of only about 500 square feet, but it's 10 million Hong Kong dollars. Now that's just under £1 million for this flat. It
Wow.
gives you some idea of the property prices, and also I think the airport authority have made available 500,000 flights. That's 500,000.
Yeah.
So
They really want
that's
people to
quite an
choose to get
incentive.
vaccinated.
Yeah, but whether people, I don't know if people will be taken in. I'm not sure. I think again it stems from the protests, a mistrust of the government. Maybe
Right.
people are perhaps politicizing the whole vaccine arrangement. So I myself haven't applied for it yet. I'm happy to be as I am. Um, I'd rather it
You don't want to
what we
win a house, Ben, or, free flights?
Carly, what would I do with it? What would I do with it? No, so at the moment, I'm happy that the supplies they've got here should be used for the frontline workers, and they can have it all first. I do regard myself as I suppose low risk, in that we haven't we don't go to crowded places so much. We don't really actually go out that much now, 2 or 3 times a week. That's okay for us. So again, if it's something that if the situation gets more serious, I might do it. We haven't got any travel plans, so that's not an issue at the moment. In fact, I don't even have a passport now. My passport expired last August. And I haven't renewed it yet. Well, it seems pointless at the moment. Can't go anywhere really.
Well, on a final note, I was going to ask what's coming up for you, but clearly not travel.
No, well, but not yet. It will, I'm sure, feature at some point in the future.
Mm.
For me and for us, I don't think. I think I would just like things to carry on as they are for the moment. Let's enjoy the stability and the safety, and the virus has gone. The social unrest has gone, and we've got new laws now that it won't come back, I don't think. But even though the feeling remains, so I would just like things to carry on as they are. It's going to be a very different world anyway. So how we react to that, don't know. So we'll just stay healthy, stay happy, and carry on enjoying Hong Kong. And we're very lucky to be in Hong Kong. It is a fantastic place. There's so much to do, many places to visit. Good parks, good museums. You've got the harbour, plenty of things to visit, and outlying islands, all sorts. So that can keep us busy for a very long time, hopefully.
Well, Ben, it's been lovely to catch up again, and let's not leave it 3 years until the
No.
next. Well, I hope you enjoyed that catch up with Ben. You can read more from him about life in Hong Kong in his regular column for Expat Focus. Find it at expatfocus.com. In case you haven't noticed, we're now recording video podcasts. So if you would like a peek behind the microphone, search Expat Focus on YouTube. The videos are also available on our website. Just head to the podcast section. Remember to follow us or subscribe so that you never miss an episode, and I'll catch you next time.